Hi and welcome back to the Movement Lesson Sports Academy. In this video we're going to do some analysis on British tennis star Emma Raducanu after the unprecedented run she had to victory in the US Open. So how did she get there? What about her movements make her so effective on the court? This first video that we've got, slow-mo, slow the YouTube video right down of Raducanu setting up for the serve. Now you have a look, the first thing that's noticeable here is this weight transfer, rocking back, okay, rocking onto the back foot. This is going to generate forward momentum, and what's going to be really significant here is rotation. Rotation is key to success in tennis. It's generating the torque to apply the power to hit the ball. A movement is brilliant right the way through the body. We're going to look at her feet, through her legs, through her hips, through her spine, her shoulders, her head, and also in her arms. Now that rocking back, that weight transfer onto the back foot, she's then going to come forward, and then you're going to start to see her rotate. So there's the shift backwards, the ball toss, and here she goes forward, and look at the hips starting that movement, the feet coming right through as well, the feet starting perpendicular to the parallel to the line and finishing perpendicular, facing down court towards her opponent, emphasizing the rotation that's required. Another example in here, watch her eyes. As soon as the ball passes the eye line, looking at her opponent, we're now going to get the ball toss coming up. Eyes don't go down to meet the ball, it meets the ball in the air. She knows where it's going, eyes on the ball, she's steady, but there's no break in momentum to pick up the ball whatsoever. She knows where it is. Both toes ending up facing down court again. And we start off with that weight transfer, front foot to back foot coming forward as the ball's tossed into the air. Here we go with it as she jumps. There's a load in the knees as she jumps. It's the pelvic strike, it's the hips that start that momentum, that bring the shoulders and the arms through. We see the rotation all the way through as she actually finishes with a serve. She almost comes all the way over beyond the 12 o'clock position looking down court. There's that much rotation in her feet. She's generating so much power through that rotation. You see there with the shoulders, how the shoulders are coming down, so her right shoulder faces away from her opponent, and when she makes contact with the ball in the air, her right shoulder's gone past her opponent and ends up facing out towards the left-hand court side. Rotation is key here. If she didn't have that level of rotation through her feet, through her left spine, through her shoulders, through her head, then she'll be putting extreme strain on the body. If she couldn't effectively rotate like that, she wouldn't be able to generate the power. There again, you see with the shoulders coming right through, following all the way around, rotating around that axis. And a big thing about her shoulders, and you see it in some of her ground strokes as well, how integrated the shoulders are, the role that they play in every single shot that she plays. The shoulders are playing a key role, that they're integrated, they're working together. There's a great shoulder pump. Again, rotation with that right shoulder coming all the way across, going beyond facing her opponent and she ends up having to come back. She's almost like she's going too far, but then her counter rotation is so good. Her hips are so strong. She's able to bring that shoulder back, so she's very quickly in a set position, ready to face the return from her opponent. And you see the shoulders. Look at that. The shoulders in that move right there from Raducanu was a great example of the shoulders are coming back. There's full momentum. It's a lead shoulders facing her opponent, come all the way through and ends up with the lead shoulder facing back towards the baseline. Excellent rotation all the way through her body. We've got more examples here of Raducanu again. Phenomenal rotation, phenomenal efficiency in a movement. We'll slow these down. Again, as she moves, look at her ground strokes, the level of rotation. If we look at her hips, hips are back, hips start the movement. It's the hips that move before the shoulders move. It's the hips that generate that torque. The pelvic strike, strong, efficient pelvic strike, so key to generating the power that she has. We're going to look at the feet in a second. We're going to see a couple of good backhands coming up in a minute as well. And you're going to see again shoulders. This time it's with a right arm, a racket hand shoulder that's going to be facing her opponent. After the shot's finished, she's going to rotate all the way through, and that shoulder will be facing the baseline. The hips are starting that movement, but also key is looking at the feet, and look how much rotation's involved down the legs to actually get her feet generating through, and how she'll pivot off her front foot at all times as well. And a big serve coming up again, rocks back, weight transfer about to come forward, hips in the air, pelvic strike to bring those shoulders through. And as she's gone all the way through, she's gone over 180 with a rotation there. Arm back and through again, the hips starting that, but you saw the shoulders coming back, the left's guiding it, it's the lead arm coming through that lead shoulder. There's so much, there's a massive hip pump, shoulder pump in there, and bringing that racket hand through. So much control. It's that backhand return. Weight transfer already coming forward to meet Fernandez's serve. Look how far inside the baseline she is, and look at that return. Again, it's the hips that started that movement, and how quickly the hip strike lead brings her forward. There's so much control in that shot. The hips are leading it, bringing the arms through, so it's so much more control with the shot because it's the hips that's leading it through. She's not got to create the power with her arms. It's the hips, it's the efficient rotation that's generating that power, and it allows her to control and focus on a vision and making contact with the ball. So we're saying with the two big backhands, we'll watch that plot point again. Again, over 180 with that rotation. There we go. Look at the hips bringing that through. It's the pelvic strike, the hip that starts that movement, the rotation. There's another backhand coming here. Look at that left arm, that left shoulder, almost pointing back towards the far corner of the baseline and bringing the ball through. Again, she would not be able to generate the amount of power that she has. She wouldn't have such efficient action if it wasn't for the amount of rotation that's going through her body. We've got a slow-mo of from another YouTube clip here. Again, side on, hips starting the movement. It's the hips going before the shoulder, bringing the arms through, both on forehand and backhand side. Look at the feet here, look at the pivot, and the toes are going to finish as she strikes the ball. The toes are already rotating back to face her opponent down court. That pivot off the foot, bringing it back round, hips starting all these movements, clear pelvic strike, so much rotation through the body. It's where the torque comes from, it's where the power comes from, all through that ability to rotate. How relevant's that? Well, one of the greats of all time. I'll show you how relevant it is. Serena Williams with her rotation. Toes all the time as she makes contact with the ball, toes coming to point forward down court, the hips starting everything. Huge rotation right round the axis. Again, hips going through there, starting the movement, hips coming through before the shoulders. Look how the toes rotate to face her opponent down court. Again, forehand side ready, the hips about to start the movement. There's the hips go, there's the shoulders come through, toes pointing down court. And again, hips there, and then the shoulders coming through, and look at the toes pointing down court. You see the shoulders starting one way, going right the way through. Very obvious there, and even as she's stretching, she's on the run. Look where her toes end up, the rotational element, the weight transfer that she's got from front to back there as well. Rotation, hips, arms all the way through, feet all the way through. Look at that as the finish there with the shoulders. Is a brilliant example of Serena Williams. Look at that finish. So right shoulder facing back towards the baseline, left shoulder facing towards her opponent. It's the hips that started that off and the shoulders that have followed. Emma Raducanu showing a lot of similar elements to Serena Williams, one of the greatest ever tennis players that the world's ever seen. Rotation, 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 key to success. From her feet up through her legs, her hips, and into the shoulders. And the key role that the pelvis is playing in being able to generate that torque, generate that power. Navratilova called her a Hall of Famer.